So we're here with the awesome Brian Hartshorn, who is an enigma to those who don't really know him, because he's got this fun personality and he's an incredibly insightful human, got great intelligence and wisdom on the spiritual side and on a humanity side. But he's also been like this extremely experienced police officer. You did SWAT for a while too.
That was one of the things I did.
Yeah. What are the different functions that you served in?
So I did 20 years with the Henderson Police Department.
Okay.
Like always, you start in patrol, and that's where you did in field patrol. Or in patrol, I was a field trainer. I did that for a few years. And then I went into Detective Bureau. In the Detective Bureau, it's got all the different functions, but I did property, auto theft, and then robbery.
Wow.
And then went to a Homeland Security task force with Metro called Armor.
That sounds very soft.
Yeah. Armor is a testament that if you use enough hyphens, anything will work as an acronym.
Okay.
So it's like all hyphen hazard, regional, multi-hyphen agency, operations and response, which means nothing to most people.
Yeah, what does that?
So we did hazmat, criminal hazmat and bomb investigations.
Wow.
And then that's when, because we have robots and everything else, we, being a Henderson guy assigned to a Metro task force, had a little bit more leeway in how we were trying to develop, because this task force started in 2005. I got there in 2007. So we're trying to develop what it really looked like. But it was on the heels of all the anthrax attacks.
Dang.
And so it was really geared towards hazmat, or we call it, on the criminal side, we call it CBRN, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, explosive. So CBRN is hazmat, but it's the criminal side or the Homeland Security side.
So basically a lot of dangerous stuff.
Yeah. So we're doing putting on plastic suits and gas masks and everything else, testing it. And then we'd get results right there and know if we need to hit the big red button or if we can just go home.
What does the big red button do?
Big red button means this is a real or weapon of mass destruction, WMD. So we had ricin a couple of times. So that's a big red button situation. But we got, especially in the hot days right after all the anthrax attacks, every white powder was, of course, anthrax.
Sure.
So I tested a ton of baby powder, creamer, because obviously there's white powder next to the coffee pot. It's anthrax, clearly, right? So I tested a heck of a lot of creamer, fire extinguisher powder. I mean, you name it. So,
you were basically doing everything that, like, I remember as a little kid in the 80s, everybody in elementary school, what do you want to be? Either I want to be a firefighter or a cop or Superman or Spider-Man, right? Like those are all equivalent.
Yeah.
So in some respect, right? So you became that. Did you always want to be a police officer?
No, I was actually leaning towards fireman, I think, early on. But my grandpa and great-grandpa on my mom's side were both LAPD.
Wow.
My grandpa was probably the greatest influence on my life. We were super tight. He had like 30-something grandkids. They called me the king because I was the favorite, and there was absolutely no hiding it. And Grandpa did not try to hide it either.
You were his favorite.
I just had a personality,
Similar to his?
I don't know if I was similar, but at a young age, I think I was able to read people and well enough to understand how they worked and what they liked and what they didn't like.
Yeah.
And so we just always got along great. So he's a huge influence on me. But I had that happening where my grandpa was never really pushing me towards law enforcement, but it was always there and an influence and a huge part of his life. Like he was on the first LAPD SWAT team, like they created it. And so that was always in the background. And then my dad, who's a corporate attorney by trade and comes from, like my grandpa, his dad was a professor at BYU.
Okay.
For, I don't know, 900 years.
What
or
did he
something.
teach?
Religion.
Oh, really? Really?
Religion professor.
What?
Leon Hartshorn. He's got a ton of books.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet our grandpas knew each other.
I wouldn't be surprised. He was,
yeah.
Any person that's probably older than maybe 50, 55 has a book in their library that has his name on it.
Dude, I didn't know that about you.
So that's very academic.
Yeah.
Academia, education, and then the other side, which is law enforcement. And so we'd always tease that the Hartshorn side, if you had a headache, the Hartshorn side is like, take an aspirin and lay down, honey, you'll be fine. The Proctor side was like, rub dirt on it, man. Why are you Just get it. Why are you complaining? Let's get to it. We got to throw this hay or whatever.
Yeah. Are you more on the Hartshorn side or the
Proctor side.
Proctor side? Yeah.
But that's how I was. Yeah, I was molded by my grandpa.
Because he was like, get her done.
So my dad always tried to talk me out of it. He did not want me being a cop.
Well, especially as a lawyer, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah.
Yeah, but my dad was that way too.
Okay.
He was not interested. He talked me out of it because he's a very convincing person. Like,
Sure.
So we always joke all the boys have like 100 college credits to his name. Like, this will be a really great idea. And he talks you into it. And you're like, man, I don't think I needed to learn Russian, but that's the future.
Did you learn Russian?
Heck no. I took Russian, but I didn't learn it.
But he was like, hey, listen to me. This is a good idea.
Yeah. And we all bought into it. So I think at some point, my wife's finally like, will you stop listening to him and just do what you want to do? And then that's when we started testing for law enforcement agencies. And that's how I got.
So do you have brothers that went into law enforcement?
No. In fact, so I've got 5 younger brothers. They're all different professions. I've got an attorney, does real estate attorney. One's in the Air Force. He's a major in the Air Force. He's over in Germany now. Got one who's a deputy city manager. Got one who's a civil engineer, and one who's training to be a pilot.
Wow. So you have
all over the map.
Big spread, yeah.
But there's out of all the grandkids, all the family on both sides, my uncle was LAPD for a minute, Boise, and then went Secret Service.
Wow.
That's it. And then me. That's it. Nobody else went law enforcement. I was the only one.
Did you like being a detective more than?
It's just so different.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I initially tested for because in the police department, you start in patrol and then you test for a specialized assignment, SWAT, K9, whatever it is. And so I tested for detective. Actually, I tested for narcotics, but I went to detectives. And when I tested, because I'd had a little bit more experience, I had a partner, his name's Plunkett, that had a lot of experience coming in. We got hired on at the same time. So we did like search warrants and worked controlled buys.
Yeah.
And worked confidential informants as patrol officers. And so when I first went into the detective bureau, they assigned me to special victims unit. Worst 3 days of my life.
Yeah, that's intense.
Of my life.
Yeah.
Not my career, my life. It was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the worst.
All the kid stuff.
Yeah.
Horrible, man. And you'd have to, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Like, friends were worried about me. And it was right before my youngest, Wyatt, was going to be born. Like a week before.
So you were already very sensitive to
Yeah, all my kids are babies at the time.
So what was it? So what was it that was so? I mean, I think I appreciate what was wrong, and what violates your brain about that.
Yeah.
Can you
Sure
understand that a little bit?
So there's a couple different parts to it. One is, you see on a lot of these crime movies where if you have a really good detective, they'll try to normalize behavior and make it okay in their mind. So the very first call that I went on, it was a call out, and there was a detective, and she is absolutely incredible. Athena is her name, and she's just incredible. She's a great person. She's a really good cop, but she's a great SVU detective. So he's about a 60-year-old dude. He'd molested a 5-year-old. And I remember so vividly, because I'm in the back seat, she's in the front seat, he's in the other front seat.
You just want to like reach over.
And we're talking an interview, and she had him agreeing that it was the 5-year-old's fault because she was dressing seductively. And he's buying into it because that's what he wants to hear. Yeah. And the whole time, all I'm thinking about is, I could just make this thing end,
Yeah.
And I almost didn't trust myself around it because it was just, it's so terrible.
Your natural inclination is just to destroy something so evil.
Yeah, it was terrible, but there
a lot of self-restraint.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people are very good. Like, there's incredible detectives out there who are very, very good at compartmentalizing. I don't think I'm very good at compartmentalizing. I try really hard, but it's very hard, especially to that extreme. But there was another one where we'd have to go through their hard drives and view all of the pornography.
Yeah.
No, some of the stuff will just never leave my brain. It's outrageous. Like, worst thing you can think of times 100. And so just
evil.
that.
It's just straight up evil.
Yeah, 100%. Just that alone. But the coup de grace, the thing that really put me over there, was day 3. We go to Child Haven, And I'm watching just from a video. And I remember another detective, his name's Rod, really great guy, very good detective. And they do a test where they're trying to determine their level of understanding so they can make sure they're using, because there's a whole like expertise with interviewing children without leading them the way you want to lead them, right? So they do it with a crayon box. Can you put a crayon on top of the box? Can you put a crayon under the box? When they got to put the crayon partially in the box, I'm like, expletive, throwing stuff down in the other room. I can't do this. There's no way. And so then I went over to I went to my sergeant and I said, I can't do this. I will in good conscience bring back, almost jokingly, the shotgun squad and handle these people for you, but I can't do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're gonna have to talk to the lieutenant. Well, you're gonna have to talk. I say the same thing to the lieutenant. They all knew me. And then I went to the captain. He's like, I couldn't do it either. So you're gonna go to property. And then that next day, Wyatt was born. And kind of a funny story is the special victim unit that night. So it was a Wednesday or Thursday night. We're sitting around and there's a bunch of, it's like a mix, 50-50 men and women. And I said, yeah, my son's getting born tomorrow. We don't have a name. And they are the ones that named Wyatt.
Really? What the
Yeah.
heck that happened?
I don't know. It was Athena. She goes, you know what name she's kind of a cowgirl.
Oh, like
You
what?
know what I name was Wyatt. And then I was like, yeah, that's a solid name. I like that name. And then she goes, then one of the other ones, her name is Jamie. She goes, James. And then they all said it out loud, Wyatt James Hartshorn. I'm like, that's solid, dude.
It's a good.
And that's what we named him.
It's a good name.
So I went back and told Mel the next day. It's like, hey, we got a name. She's like, sounds great.
That's awesome. Okay. So you went through this nightmare hell of where people are manipulating, abusing, and doing terrible things. to
Yeah.
especially children.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
Just evil. And then you have this heavenly experience of having a son, your first son.
No, this Wyatt's my last
Your last son.
kid. Yeah, Evan J. Wyatt.
Okay.
Jason.
So I don't know your kids that well, but okay. So Wyatt. So you're already in dad mode, and this is like your youngest one. Dads are often partial to their youngest. Yep. Right.
Yeah, it happened.
It happens. It's a phenomenon.
Well, I think you're more mature. We were joking before that you practiced on the first two.
Oh, dude, for sure.
And so then by the time we got to Wyatt, I think we had a little bit more maturity, a little more perspective, and then,
yeah,
a lot more practice. And
I practiced on the first four. So no, I get that. So from hell to heaven,
yeah,
from an exposure standpoint, how do you deal with that? I mean, you believe, I'm a believer in Christ. I follow these ideas and principles and virtues. How do you deal with that? Because you can't, in some way, even just walking away is compartmentalizing, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, or you could go be Batman and just take justice into your own hands.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile the hell with what you understand and what you believe?
Yeah, it's tricky, man.
It's a really hard question.
No, it is. But so I'll give you the story. I think you've already heard it, but one of the things that happened early on in my career, which was super helpful for me in kind of understanding that, I grew up in a family that was in the church. My grandpa was a religion professor, and the other side was my grandpa Proctor. He was a convert, but he was a BYU bishop, and they're all strong members. So the church was just in me and all around me, and so that was a huge deal. Just having the base going in, like, I don't know how folks do it, going into law enforcement without that base. It's just got to be a struggle. Which probably
without a foundation.
Yeah. A lot of them, some lose themselves, a lot of mental health issues, a lot of divorces, because it's tough, man. It wears on you.
Yeah.
But I had an experience when I was in patrol. So I think this is probably my third year. And at the beginning, you're young, you're in your 20s, you're indestructible, you're just having a fun time, and you're making the world safe, but you're also having a blast. You're riding with lights and sirens and chasing people and getting into fights. And it's a riot. It's so fun. But we were working this one area that was just getting crushed with burglaries, tons and tons of burglaries. We ended up pointing it to this dude. His name was Shane. Shane was, grew up in that area. I call it tweaker. So mom's a tweaker, meth user.
Oh, meth user.
Meth user, yeah, because they're always fiddling. They can't hold still, Meth is just horrible.
Yeah. So pernicious.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. So, anyways, not a strong household, tough, just kind of surviving on his own. And he was selling meth, mostly some to survive and some so he could feed his own habit. And in meth sales, if you're selling ounces, even quarter ounces, that's quite a bit of meth. It's expensive. So we ended up pinpointing that all these burglaries were coming from this one dude. He had a little bit of a crew, but he was the main guy. So ended up catching, after a bunch of investigation, figuring it out, we found him and were able to arrest and put a lot of charges on him: burglary, meth possession, intent to sell, all that kind of stuff. And during the investigation, you kind of get to know a little bit of flavor of people, you know, because you're just talking. You try to put them at ease, and you're just trying to talk and see what's up.
When you're good at reading people, like with grandpa, right?
Yeah, I think so, maybe to a certain degree. But anyways, there's something about him that reminded me of one of my brothers, and it just really clicked that I had every advantage in the world. I had two parents in the house loving me. I had both sets of grandparents love me, and they were an influence. I had cousins everywhere. I mean, and just that had the gospel. I was just such a small percentage of the world that I've got all these advantages, and now I'm judging this dude. And I'm arrested tons of people, and I've judged them hard. But this one, because of the similarity, and I still don't even know what it was, if it was the way he talked or the cadence, something. So anyways, when I was on my way to jail, and I do this with everybody, talk about, okay, you're going to jail, you're going to be gone a long time. Hopefully you can get off all this junk, but if you come back to your same old friends, you're going to go back to the same old thing. That's just human nature, man. You go back to what you know, and it's going to be rough. And we'd always joke that we'd try to, whenever we take anyone to jail, we hope they'd thank us by the time we got them to jail, because you kind of have this one-on-one time.
Yeah.
Just, hey, it's already done. What's done is done.
So you're basically like assuming this role of like being like a cheerleader counselor.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Do you know?
And I didn't do it with everybody.
But
this one clicked hard.
You could feel his energy, right?
Yeah.
But do cops do that regularly?
You'd be shocked at how many do.
Really?
You'd be absolutely shocked. It's when I went into training later on after all the bomb and SWAT stuff, we do a lot of scenarios with all kinds of different scenarios with mental health and everything else. And people would give money to people who needed food and all this stuff. And they were very, very generous. It was awe-inspiring, really. Because I knew I had done that, but I didn't know. But I would say 50-50.
Wow.
Yeah. They're very cognizant of what's going on.
Did you like working with people that were like that more than people that weren't?
Generally, yeah, I think so.
Because they could see the human, not just the criminal.
Yeah. And the more tenured you are, the more you get it.
Yeah.
And I think what goes along with it is your personal life experiences, because not all these kids, their own kids, are, choosing the best path, at least in their opinions. And I think when you get a little bit more maturity and understanding that everything's not so clear cut, not everything's fair and just.
Yeah. You have a lot more compassion.
Yeah, for sure. Because you have that perspective that makes all the difference.
That's surprising to me. I mean, I admire police officers. We'll take donuts around with our kids to.
Oh yeah, they love it. That's a big deal, by the way, to them. Huge.
Well, because I mean, it's a selfless. In some ways, it's a selfless act of service, right? It's a thankless job. Yeah. So you're in a cop car.
Yeah.
You're having this. I mean, you're basically like his counselor, cheerleader, kind of like confessioner, priest person, right? A little bit. Like, do people like open up to you and that's their?
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised that the people are very forthright.
Really?
Because they feel like they got no. Most people don't have a cheerleader in their life. The people that I deal with, or dealt with, they don't have anybody that's really truly in their corner. They don't have a parent. I mean, they just. Yeah, so to just show interest in what's going on and some kind of genuine concern about what's going on in their life, they feel that for sure. So with Shane, we kind of end on a high. We get all the way to the jail, and I kind of give him the last, "You can do this, kid." So he goes into jail, and it's probably, this is the justice system that's not very just. I think with all those felony charges, he was out in like 18 months or something like that. It's so quick. But I was in jail booking somebody else in, and they have a, what do they call it? When they're an inmate, but they're helping around, so they get a little bit more, there's a term for it, it'll come to me later, but they get a little more flexibility, so they're kind of helping around the jail, and they can kind of walk around. So I see him walk out, and the dude looks amazing. He's yoked. His face is all clear. His hair is thick again. He's a handsome fella. Like, he looks really good. I almost didn't recognize him. He recognized me first. He goes, "Officer Hartshorn." I was like, "Shane, is that you?" Like, "That's great, man. You look amazing." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "What's the plan?" He's like, "I'm going to go live with my mom in Wyoming. I just got to do a couple of things." I said, "Don't stay long. Don't re-engage with all your old crew. Just get out." I'm like, "Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Yep, that's what I'm going to do." I was excited for him. Really, I was pumped. So about 6 months passes. I'm still working the same area, and I start seeing the same old stuff going along in the area. I'm like, "Oh no." And I happened to get,
It was him.
yeah, I was almost positive, because I'd heard from because you're all out and about and you talk to tons of people, and I'd heard, kid grew up there, so everybody knew him. And so we get a call for a burglary, and I was like the dream, to be right around the corner. I was right around the corner. And he walks out, and I could see him as I'm coming down. He walks out of the house and starts walking down the street. And I come up behind him, and I just chirp the siren, call for backup, waiting for him. And then I step out and I go, "Shane," and I saw his whole body just like, just down. Probably anyone else he would have run, because that's what
But he knew
normal.
He knew.
He knew my voice, I think. He was like, "Shane." So he turns around, and he looks terrible. He dropped all of that. He was skinny before. He dropped all the weight and muscle that he put on. And then probably 20 or 30 pounds. I mean, he was like a skeleton. All his top teeth had fallen out. His hair was barely there, and his face was just trashed. One is meth like messes up your complexion, but the tweaker thing where you can't hold still, you start picking, and they're very known for like open sores. It's just such a disgusting, horrible thing. And I mean, that's it. He had a bunch of meth in his pocket, had burglaries. I mean, so back in the car, where I'm taking him back to jail, and I'm like, I get emotional thinking about it, because it was tough, man. It was tough to see him, because he'd just fallen right in, but just got, as so many people who relapse, it's kind of probably a miracle he didn't OD. Yeah. But when he went even harder. And so I was like, "Buddy, you're going back in. You'll probably do longer. I'm kind of hoping for you that you do longer. But you can't go back. You're not going to live next time, man. Look in the mirror. You look like you're about to die right now. Like, I can't understand how you're even breathing." And so he took it all to heart, but that was heartbreaking. So I booked him all into jail. Then kind of forgot about it. I tested, went to the detective bureau, and I remember I was working swing shift, and I get a call on my desk phone. Back when we had desk phones. And so in the olden days.
Yeah, for those who don't know what that is, that's a phone that sits on your desk.
It was crazy.
Attached.
Yeah, there's a cord and everything. I'm like, "Hartshorn." And he goes, "Officer Hartshorn, this is Shane." I'm like, "Whoa, where are you calling from?" Like, I got out, I went straight to my mom's house. I'm in Wyoming, and I'm gonna, what's your plan? So I want to be a mechanic. I'm going to Wyotech, the school. And he goes, "Will you be my reference?" I'm like, "Oh boy, man. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea. What do I put down as our relationship? 2-time arresting officer?" And he starts laughing. I said, "Here's some other ideas that you should reach out to, because that might cause for some awkward discussion when they call." And, but we talked for just, a few minutes, told him I was proud of him and just excited for his life, and stay focused. So I never heard from him since. I'm curious.
Dude, we gotta find
never heard from him since.
Yeah, you gotta find him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so anyways, having back at the beginning.
My two eyes too. Like you feel how sorrowful that is.
Yeah, it's just so sad. But having that experience early on in my career really, I think, helped set a tone where these are just humans, man. We do run across genuinely evil people who this is just how they're wired or how they were nurtured or a combination of the two. But most people are you're experiencing their worst day, and it could be the arrestee or it could be the victim or both. You're experiencing their worst day with them every day that you go to work. And so you have to be very guarded for your own sanity. You can't get in that deep with everybody. I mean, you never sleep. You just be worried about everybody, right? Yeah. So you have to be able to, I guess, compartmentalize and focus on other things. You just kind of got to let it go and hope people can do their best. You can't have that much empathy and survive. So law enforcement cops in particular have a very dark sense of humor. It's very off color. It's very
how they're coping with this.
Yeah, and it happens. So that's a lot of the cope. But also, I think one of the things that was very helpful for me is a little bit later, after I went to the detective bureau, I was living in Henderson, and I was a robbery detective at the time. And I was with the kids there. Evan and Jay were at Home Depot. I saw my suspect and all his family. And as a cop, you can kind of get away with it in your patrol uniform because you're just another person in a uniform. Out of context, it's hard for people to pick you out. But as a detective, you've sat with them for 2 hours. They know exactly what you are, who you are, what you look like.
Yeah.
So we turned right back around and told the kids I forgot my wallet. And then we moved like a week later, moved out of Henderson, moved all the way to Summerlin, where we're at now.
Wow.
And that ended up being a huge blessing because it gave time to decompress. So I'd always kind of in my mind, work is on the far side of the spaghetti bowl.
Yeah.
As soon as I'd cross, then I'm home. And everything at home is home stuff. It's sports and whatever. And it's to the point now, I hate going to Henderson. I hate it. Mel, my wife, Melissa, she always laughs at me because whenever we drive into Henderson, I cannot stay quiet. I'm like, that's where that happened. That's where that happened. That's where that happened. That's where that happened.
You got to process.
They call it reoccurring PTSD.
Yeah.
Like, yep. And so I hate going there now. It's really weird. It's an interesting phenomenon.
Well, but so it's nice that you're not in the same places where you sleep.
Yeah, Summerlin's awesome. But there's a lot of cops that work for Henderson, live in Henderson.
Wow.
Maybe there's better compartmentalizing than I.
So I want to back up though and just hit a couple points. So like when you are letting go, what's the process that you go through in your mind to find peace about the fact that people are hurting children, people are doing terrible things to each other, or getting...
I don't think I've never found peace necessarily, but more just turning off your cop brain.
You let it go.
Yeah. Just, you're always on. Like that's just I think we've talked about it before. It's just going to church is the first 10 minutes, and I've been retired 3 years. The first 10, 15 minutes, all I'm thinking about is, okay, somebody comes in that door. Somebody comes in that door.
Hey, you're still in Die Hard.
I've role played this 4,000 times, right? And I've been here. I should just know by now because I've already role played the same 15 or 20 scenarios in my mind, but you can't turn it off. Yeah. So some of that crosses over, but I think being just an active member of the church, associating with other people who are like-minded, because a lot of cops just hang out with cops and they're off duty. So now there's really no downtime because that's where your friends, like, you're kind of forging fire because you're there handling it. Being that I was on the other side of the city, that wasn't as convenient. And there's a handful of Henderson cops who live over on our side, but for the most part, they all live in Henderson or around the valley. And that was helpful because they never decompressed. It's always cop stories and what happened and, all the craziness.
Sure.
So
be surrounding yourself with people that help you have a higher
completely different, different group of people. And a lot of them just don't get it. And that's cool. It doesn't mind.
The cops don't get you being religious, or?
No, I think the religious people don't get the cop side. I think it's just so foreign.
Yeah. I hear that. My wife always told me that she thought I was going to be a cop. It's because I have that police mentality where I don't seek for power. I want to tear it down. That kind of energy, right? And I mean, it's honorable. It's very, very honorable.
Do you think that was a missed opportunity?
Do I think me missing out on that was a missed opportunity?
Are you glad?
No, I think I would have been. I think I would have been too aggressive of a cop, too judgmental. Like.
Yeah, it changes with tenure, obviously.
Sure. So, man, we got to find Shane, and like I have another story about that.
I kind of don't. Like I've got this in mind that he's just a mechanic, doing his thing, and then I don't want to find out he's dead or something of an OD. I like to keep the mystery alive.
No, that's fair. That's fair. One of the things, because I teach Institute on Thursdays, and you're always welcome to come substitute if you ever want to do that.
Okay.
But
you can put me on the substitute roster.
Dude, you got it. You and Satema, I'm like, you guys are my two go-to guys. But because you guys you're so good at just getting to the real meat of the how does the gospel help? How does understanding Christ help? But last night we were talking about why. Like why hard things happen, why difficult things happen. And I had surgery about 3 weeks ago. And 2 weeks after that, I sneezed. It was on my nose. I sneezed, and all of a sudden, I just started bleeding.
Oh.
And I didn't stop bleeding for 4 days.
Oh my goodness!
It was like this intense lesson in real-time biofeedback. Because every time my blood pressure would go up, my nose would gush more. And what happened is I had popped a stitch or one of the cauterized areas in my sinus cavity, and it wouldn't heal. And I didn't notice at the time, but I learned it by like meditating and praying and like looking at myself and going, what did I do wrong? I was taking some supplements to try and put on muscle that were thinning my blood. Like creatine, not good to take while you're recovering.
Pro tip.
Yeah,
it's good to know.
Yeah, turmeric, not good to take.
Okay,
you're recovering from surgery. And so I changed my diet. I started pounding the kale smoothies, bring in the vitamin cake. But what was amazing is I couldn't stop bleeding. Like the blood started coming out of my eye, because I was trying to stop it. It just didn't have anywhere to go. And so,
goodness.
Yeah, it was insane.
Like your tear duct or where?
Yeah, just flowed up out of my tear duct because I wouldn't stop. So every time I get stressed, it would flow more. And so I had to really anchor in and be like, okay, how do I calm myself down? And how do I stay in a place of peace? And how do I rest and let my body heal? So we were talking about this whole, why do you go through that? What's the purpose? And why do we have these painful, hard experiences?
Yes.
And the takeaway last night was the idea that everything is an experience.
Yep.
Even hellish experiences are valuable. We can learn something from all of them. And Isaiah has this really cool quote where he says, those that murmur will learn doctrine. And to me, that one of those doctrines is, the why is, we're here to learn. We're here to grow up. We're here celestial weight lift, right? Like if we want to become more like God, we have to go through hell a little bit. So I have a couple questions on that idea. How do you keep yourself in a place of peace? Because you've been in much more stressful situations than I have been, I'm sure, dealing with like life or death scenarios. I'm dealing with suing people and arguing with attorneys and family, whatever.
Sounds stressful though.
It is, but there's so much choice in the stress.
Yeah.
I think, like, what are some of the techniques you would use to stay, because you are funny and happy and chill. You're not a hot-headed cop. At least that's the interaction.
I've got you all fooled now.
Yeah. What do you do to stay Brian?
That is a fine question. I think one is I've just been blessed with a great family. My wife is incredible. She's been a cheerleader since the beginning, super supportive of whatever I've wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because especially towards the beginning of your career, when you're just I have a hard time, I don't know what the word would be, like slowing down. Like if there's something I think that could be good, then I just want to do it.
Yeah.
So I kind of go outside of any assignment. Like if one is I wanted to be, I was at the end, I was a lieutenant, and I was the regional police academy commander. And there we have just a bunch of different jurisdictions. It's associated with the school district, or a CSN, sorry. And it was great, but what I figured out really quick is Henderson recruits we were losing 0% in the academy, which is kind of an issue. You think everyone else is like, oh, that's great. That just means we're not screening people or challenging them enough.
Oh, interesting.
So we were concentrating all our efforts on the bottom 10%, which is what happens when pretty much every academic situation.
Yeah.
Or the top 10%,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And
that's
so
80-20 rule.
yeah, that's it. Oh, it's so true too.
Yeah.
So all our recruits were sailing through, but we were also putting a tremendous amount of effort into the academy. We'd provide role players and academy commander and academy staff. And it was expensive because we were still paying the school district or CSN. So I came up with the idea and researched and designed the first Henderson Police Academy. I had to pitch it to a couple of chiefs because there's some political.
Sure.
You're pulling away from other jurisdictions, and they know that they depend on you. Now you're not going to be that person anymore. So finally one of the chiefs bit and was able to start that first police academy. A lot of people had been in that role before me and it had never even occurred to them. But
this idea that too many people are going through.
Well, they're just status quo.
Yeah.
Status quo is totally cool. I think my dad is wired this way and then probably gave it a lot to me, or status quo is never cool with him. He always wants to find the best. What's the next? How could it be more efficient? How could it be better? So that part of it has always been like, I've kind of stressed myself out because I just cannot stop doing that. I'm always working like on my own time and trying to put in all this effort to make it better what I think it should be. And, so at the beginning of my career, I was doing that in pretty much every role, with SWAT, with armor, with detectives, everything. And I was not home a ton. I was on call a lot. When I was home, I was beat, and it was not easy.
That's very hard. That's very hard. Yeah.
And it's shift work.
Yeah.
So when I was on swing shift, when the kids started getting into schools, when it gets really hard, swing shift's 2 to midnight. Well, I'm not seeing them on the way to seminary or anything, there's a lot of days I wouldn't see them at all, at least 4 or 5 days. Because I wouldn't get off until midnight and they'd be gone by the time I got up, and I'd leave by the time they got home. But she held all of that together without complaint.
So having your wife in your life was like the biggest.
The biggest is that, for me, it was the anchor. And then.
So get married and stay married. What you're saying?
Try.
Yeah. If you can.
Yeah. But
it's hard. That's really hard to do.
It's tough.
Yeah. Especially when one of your partner, when a spouse gives up.
Yeah.
Or does something, just kind of face plants. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that, and then of course the church, and then just surrounding yourself with good people, and then the focus on your kids, because that's selfless. You just really want them to succeed and do the best that you can. So I think those are where I found the peace for me. But it was incredible. I've already said it, but it was incredibly helpful to live away and just surround myself with people who are doing other stuff, with attorneys and doctors and professionals of all different sorts that didn't get it. And, I'd tell them a couple of stories and they'd find it entertaining. And then, but we'd talk about other stuff. I got to the point where I really don't, unless it's like a talk at church or something, I rarely will just share stories unless somebody's asking for it.
It's not your identity.
No, I think that's a really good point too.
Yeah.
It was easy for me to walk away, unlike many. Like my grandpa, I don't feel like ever stopped being a cop. It was very hard. He had to medically retire because he broke his back, but he never could stop being a cop. That was such an ingrained part of who he was. Where for me, it was just, I love it. It was great. Like I had a storybook career, but I don't mind not being a cop at all. Like I feel like I've touched home base, and I'm just like, yeah, buddy.
It's what you were doing. It wasn't who you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's hard not to be in any profession, I'm sure. I think that's what you do. That's where your identity.
I agree.
If you don't have any other thing going on, then that's who you are.
So what is your identity then? Like so let's get into, what do you believe? What's your why? Like what's the driving force behind Brian? And then what have you seen that you can do that creates light? Let's try and
What's my Simon Sinek why?
Yeah. I love that he has a great TED Talk on that. I mean,
The books is
incredible. Yeah.
I've got a signed copy of it at home.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very cool.
I got knee deep in leadership for.
So what is that? What is it then? I'm sure, because you ran the police academy, you did all this stuff, right? So.
I always joke about leadership because it's I don't know how much the industry, a couple $1 billion industry, I'm sure, probably more than that. It depends on what flavor. Everyone's got 21 rules of leadership and about the why and,
Yeah.
you know, the 7 habits.
So what's you?
Goes on and on. At the end, at the core of leadership in general, what occurred to me finally, because when I was training for like half marathons and stuff, I'd listen to leadership books. And if you don't care about people, you're just never going to be a good leader. You might be an excellent manager or supervisor, but you're not going to be a leader if you just don't care about people. And I think some of that is you can do all the little techniques and tactics and steps. You might be able to put a little bit of a facade in some instances, but generally people know that you're not a real leader. But I mean, I've been in law enforcement and different careers for a long time, and I've probably worked for 5 leaders in my whole life.
Out of 100 people.
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah.
I think that's where the church is so different, is because they may not be good managers or supervisors because it's not in their training, but they do desperately care about people for the most part.
Yeah.
And so leadership in the church is always a very different animal. It's like the opposite end.
Heart-led.
Yeah, heart-led.
Hartshorn.
Let's see what's there.
So you got this idea of genuinely care about people. That's your why.
I think that is it. Yeah.
You genuinely care.
Yeah, I want people to succeed. Right now, I'm the Stake Young Men's president. It's just it's the greatest calling in the world. So you just get to associate with incredible people and just support bishops to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
To help, you know, get them where they need to be. So really, I'm just trying to, like, I want to develop a relationship with them, but there's so many. Really, I need to kind of like twist them and push them back towards the bishop.
Yeah.
Because that's the bishop and the bishop brick, of course, all the young women leaders and stuff. That's the relationship. You know, bishop has the keys and that's the direction.
Very focused on helping them become.
So try and, get in through, because it's hard, man.
It is hard. It's hard.
But yeah, caring about people, I think that's probably the why.
That's your why. Okay. What do you believe about life? Like, what's your belief?
Just in general belief?
Yeah. Like, what is it that is your anchor go to? Like, hey, I'm okay as long as this is where I remember I am.
I think, a lot of that's just a perspective, and it might be an internal perspective. I think I come across as pretty easygoing and chill, but I stew and worry on things, like everybody, stew and worry on things. And some of that's training, some of that's nature. I think a lot of that was just increased with law enforcement training, because whenever you go to training, law enforcement training isn't based on things going well. It's a worst case scenario.
It's always the worst case.
And then going into training myself, as in the academy or in service training, that's all I did was create and design scenarios that were terrible and worst case scenario. So my mind always goes to the worst case scenario.
Uh-huh.
And luckily my wife is the opposite.
Sure.
She always says, well, why are you worried about it? You don't worry about it until you need to worry about it. I'm like, if I could figure that out, man, I'd be way ahead of the game, but I can't. I'm always like,
You're a planner.
this is getting, exactly, a planner. But I'm planning for the worst of the worst case scenario, and the scenarios that are just outrageous. Like, that's never going to happen, but that's the ones that keep me up at night.
So
try to stew and
You're
figure
the
it out.
person we want when everything hits the fan. Yeah, basically. Okay.
I don't know about that, but
You feel like if you're prepared, then you're not going to be afraid. You're not going to be.
probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you found in your life that you can do to, or you have seen that creates light? Under this premise that when you treat people like people, I believe that's one way that light is created.
Yeah.
When you treat people
You're
like
right.
objects or whatever, that creates misery, right? And
True.
evil. So what's been your perspective on creating light?
I think being genuinely interested in what they have going on,
Yeah.
and remembering, whether it's a young man in your ward or a friend, if they've got, like Satema this week, on Saturday, he's doing his bodybuilding show. So I check in with him, make sure he's doing all right, because last week is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
That's the worst on the lead up, right?
He was like,
And
I'm in the grind right now.
I'm not calling him, because they'll probably be mad at me for something, not because it's so hangry, but just being cognizant of people. And I think if you're worried about other people and what's going on in their lives, then you worry less about what you got going on. And I think it's a way to ground you. And then your worries seem a little bit less important, because you're just not worried about them. You're not stewing on it. You're thinking, or maybe worrying's not the right term, but concerned about what other people have going on in their lives.
Like you did with Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that clearly had a huge impact on you and on him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. you moved in.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm glad to have that experience early on, especially.
Well, we love giving out people. We give out these really cool little lightsabers because we tell people that we try and spotlight people who create light. And I believe that when your eye is single to God's glory, your whole body's filled with light. And so you can actually become like a human lightsaber. Like you show up and you change the room. There are some people that walk into a room and they have that presence, right? I think you're one of those people.
Hey, thanks.
You bring this peace and calm and steadiness. And it's like Exodus 3:14 says, like when Moses is like, well, who should I tell Pharaoh sent me? And Jehovah's like, tell him that I am sent you. I am that I am, right? That's the quintessential becoming idea. And I feel like you have been forging that energy inside yourself for a long time. And so this is our gift to you. These light up. They're kind of fun. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
You bet, brother. And thanks for being on with us. And it's been an honor to get to chat with you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being you.